Hey everybody, TC Kirkham, the Kirkham Report, and TKR VideoCentral here. A little special for you. There's this thing going on that is starting to get more and more attention in the news that everybody in the vinyl community and every other community out there really needs to be on top of. That is digital ownership. You don't really own what you think you own many of the times when you actually download movies, TV shows, games, you buy them, and those purchases are disappearing. It's happened to a number of people, and it happens more and more thanks to Sony has been taking care of it. Warner Brothers has been doing some of it. Several of the gaming companies. It is something that you need to be aware of. You need to be watching it, watching the terms of service, and making sure that it guarantees that you're buying these, because people are out hundreds of dollars, many times, sometimes thousands of dollars, when they have made purchases that have been delicensed. In fact, whatever they've spent is just gone, and there's no restitution, no refund, no anything. Personally, I'm of the opinion that it does need to be legislated. But I had an interesting discussion with a longtime friend of mine. The gentleman who calls himself Gaming Sasquatch and I have been friends for over closing in on 2 decades now. He has been a friend of mine for a long time. He is an avid gamer, an avid movie watcher and collector. And although he hasn't been hit with this except on iTunes, and he'll explain that, we had a long discussion this afternoon about digital ownership, what it means, how to get around it, and what you need to do to watch out for your own rights. And we also discuss whether or not there's legal remedies needed. So sit back and take a look at our discussion. I hope you'll get something meaningful out of it.
So I wound up, I haven't gone on my iTunes for a long time because I used Spotify a lot, because Selena likes Spotify. I just got a family plan, and everything I wanted was pretty much there. So I didn't really go into my library, but I'm like, you know what? There's a song on there that I can't find on Spotify. So I decided, I switched over my iTunes to a different email address. I got rid of the other email address because there was a lot of problems with it that it used to be associated with. But when I went onto that library, all it kept showing me was like streaming stuff. So I went into my actual purchases, and there was nothing there. My ringtones that I purchased were still there, but my whole library was gone. So I contacted Apple, and they were just like, yeah, because it's been years. I mean, we're talking a good, 12, 13 years. I haven't been on my library. There's nothing they can do. And I'm sitting there like, I mean, it wasn't that many songs. I mean, I'm probably looking at a couple $100 in purchases. Which is a bummer in itself, and I did get to enjoy that music.
Mm-hmm.
So I did get, I look at it like, okay, I got my money's worth, but I'm still upset that it's gone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, are you kidding me? So when I watch a lot of YouTube, a lot of gaming YouTubers and stuff like that, I do talk to them. I watch their videos and stuff. And all of a sudden, this thing with PlayStation hit. Now, I bought into the whole buying digital thing because I don't have that much room in my house. And I'm thinking, well, I could take these on the go because I have a Nintendo Switch, the PlayStation. And it's just easier to keep them online. And same for movies. I bought into that big time. I'm afraid of losing my movies now, but because we're talking thousands
Yeah.
on Vudu, which we've talked about before.
Yeah.
And excuse me. And also, I let my brother and sister-in-law and the kids use my Vudu account because I can have up to 2 people on it. And, I buy them movies and stuff, and it's great. But I'm just like, so when the Sony PlayStation thing hit, that people were losing their entire libraries, Sony wasn't responding back to it, but because of something to do with licensing or there was a bug, and this one guy lost 400 games.
Yeah.
It freaked me out a lot. And I'm just like, and then, I was looking more into it. To do about like, okay, you're basically licensing the game. You don't own it, which I think is complete bull. But, I still bought into it and stuff like that. But now I talked to Selena, and I was telling her, like, I'm really scared that I'm going to lose all these games because I'm a big gamer. I don't want to lose these games because this is stuff that I play over and over again. This is something that keeps me calm because of everything, like obviously stress and things like that. This de-stresses me. So she said, no, I absolutely agree with you. Yes, it's going to be terrible that we have to re-spend the money to rebuy these games. But she said, if you can get it physical, buy it physical. And from here on out, any game that you get, just buy physical. If it doesn't come out physical, and I agree with her on this, if it doesn't come out physical, then I'm not going to get it, which means I'll miss out on a few really good games like Alan Wake 2, which it looks like a phenomenal game, but they only came out with it digitally. So I'm just like, I guess I'll never play this game unless they come out with it physically. Because I just don't feel comfortable spending my money, whether it's $10 or 70, which games cost now, like big AAA games. Thank goodness I'm more into indie games than I am the big AAA games now. But still, like, if there's a game maybe $5 and under that's only digital, and I play it right away,
there aren't very many of those.
Huh?
There aren't very many of those.
Yeah, so maybe I'll get it. But other than that, I'm not going to do it. And then the same for comic books. They're expensive. I usually like to buy the hard copies of comic books, but I do have an extensive digital library on my Kindle. But at least if I read through those, I read through them. Okay, I got my money's worth. I'll be upset if I lose them, but hey, whatever. And then I really started. What I am okay with is I got back a lot of stuff on Kickstarter for comic books. But what's good about that is they send me the PDF file. I own that PDF file.
Yeah.
That's not on a server based thing, so they can't take that off my phone. I can also print that out and just staple it, and there you go. It's not. So that is one thing I'm fine with getting digital on, like on Kickstarter, because you own that file. It's not a licensing thing. It's not but this thing with the games is really freaking me out.
The only thing about Kickstarter that I would be wary about is if it's some kind of a project, and comic books are not going to be a problem, but if you have a project that is being self-funded and then suddenly it gets an interest from a major studio or a major company and they end up buying it out. This is what happened several times with things that were developed on Kickstarter but ended up being bought by Facebook, and then they would find out that the Kickstarter level didn't work anymore or whatever. They would block them out. The whole digital ownership thing, for people who see this so many times, this is, I mean, especially in the vinyl community where I'm coming from, physical media matters. People want the physical media. Now, I enjoy digital music, but I also download it all. If I want it, I download it. I don't, streaming is one thing, and I do that too. But if I'm going to buy something, I want a physical digital copy that I can store on my computer, not on some cloud server somewhere.
Yeah.
And that is the only way that I will buy those. I mean, I've got sucked into buying a lot of Kindle stuff, and I worry about that because I have read horror stories where you've made one screw up against Amazon and they bricked your whole device with hundreds of thousands of dollars of various places. But one thing that is becoming, and this isn't just happening in this industry, it's happening now with printers and cars and so many things, where the manufacturers are not actually selling you things. They are licensing or leasing it to you, and the digital ownership is usually some form of that kind of ownership, whereas if they go belly up, you've lost everything and you don't have any recourse to get it back, because people don't read the terms of service. Let's face it, nobody does. They're like 80 pages of gobbledygook that nobody understands. You go through a term of service, and somewhere in there it's going to tell you are licensing this, you are not purchasing it. And when you sign that, you are screwed effectively if they go out of business, or if they decide to stop licensing it from one company to another, which is what happened to a whole host of people in December when Discovery Warner Brothers decided to stop licensing their stuff. And everybody who had purchased, like one guy I read had purchased the entire series of Mythbusters. This guy is out $400 because he can't play it anymore because they've taken that license away. That is not right. I just don't think that's right. And we need to start talking on the level of legal areas. Whereas just like companies are now pushing you into binding arbitration and not allowing you to sue if there's something wrong, the ownership issue is becoming a major sticking point for me, especially when it comes to buying digital. I won't buy digital movies for the exact reason that we've outlined here. There is one particular movie. Everybody who knows me from my Subject Cinema days, which is eventually going to come back, but it isn't right now. But one person, people who know me from my Subject Cinema days know me. I am an enormous fan of a young actor named Theo Taplitz. He did a fantastic, quirky comedy in 2019 called Worm, WYRM. That is an absolute blast. It's hilarious. It's funny. Theo gives one of his best performances. The whole cast is brilliant. When they released it to the public, it was released only on digital. There is no hard DVD of it. There is nothing else. And as a result, pisses me off, but I'm not buying that movie. I'm sorry. I love Theo to death and I love to watch his work, but I'm not paying for that. And I actually told him, because I do communicate with him, I said, you got to see if you can get them to do a DVD, because the digital stuff ain't gonna fly for me. And it's just the way it is.
I did that with movies. I just, unless my brother-in-law pays for it, I won't buy them anymore digitally. I stopped that because I feel uneasy about the whole thing. And there's a series that just came out, and I'm hoping hopefully I can get the hard copies. They do have them. It's the Mythica movie series. Jake, one of the actors, actually put out a Kickstarter for Mythica 6, which me and Slunner, we absolutely adore the series. And I got the hard copy for that, but I didn't have the money, unfortunately, to get the other hard copies. So I do got to reach out to him. But yeah, it is a big problem. Like the other big problem is, at least on the gaming side of things, is all the games that are coming out now. Everything is getting forced to digital, which is irritating. I don't like this. But they're not. So if you buy a game, like for instance, let me just grab. I'll use this one for an example, because this is actually a perfect example of it. So you buy the game. I bought the deluxe edition of Avengers. A lot of people hate this game, whatever. I love this game. They shut down the servers for it, so I can't play online anymore at all with people. I could still play the campaign, but the problem is the game itself is not on the disc. It's download. Yes, you got the disc to put in, but it just downloads off the server. It's not played off the cart like olden games where you used to stick the cart. The whole game was on the cart, and instead of you have to download the game, and it's DLC and it's constant updates. It's so irritating. At least Nintendo is still it's still a step back in graphics and stuff like that. But the Nintendo Switch is my absolute favorite system, because most of the stuff I can play off the cart, like the game cart itself. And that's what I like. You know what I'm saying? And I did back some games on Kickstarter that were digital only, but they're starting to come out physical, which is nice. But now when I back a game on Kickstarter, I get the digital copy, and I usually get it on Nintendo Switch if it's on there, because it's on the cart. So it's but that's the problem with the gaming side of things, is even though you get the disc, it's still downloading. And then a lot of time when you buy the game, you open up the case and it's a download code. It's not even a disc. So it's I've grown to not like I have a PlayStation 5. I didn't want to get one, but my PlayStation 4 was dying. And I'm not going to pay $499 for a PlayStation 4 when I could pay $512 for a PlayStation 5.
Right.
So because it could PlayStation 4 games, it could play the PlayStation 4 games. So I got the 5. I really don't like it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a big fan. I was a big fan of the PlayStation 3, but everything's on the disc for the PlayStation 3.
PlayStation that's 4, the good thing about 3.
Yeah, and I love my 3. I still play my 3. And then the same thing for the Wii. Like I have the original Wii, and all the games are on the discs, you know. But the PlayStation 5 is like, and that's the only way to play some of my games that I have. And I wish I didn't even buy into the PlayStation 4. I just stuck to the 3. And then I have an Xbox. I have an Xbox One, which again, that's all online based. If you can't get online, you can't play your games most of the time, which really irritated me. I didn't know anything about it when I
Yeah.
bought it. But I did wind up buying an Xbox Series S, the digital console, because again, I bought into the hype like a dummy. And again, I really wish I didn't. So what I'm trying to do now is to beat all the games that I have on these systems, so I can just put them away, and I'll stick to the Switch, like in my PlayStation 3, in my Wii, like my three. The newest console's the Nintendo Switch, but the Wii's an old console. The PlayStation 3 is an old console, and I just picked up an emulator handheld that has like all these Nintendo games, but you can't take my games off that. They're on cards, and I can play them all I want. It has 7,000 games on it. It has all like the old Nintendo games and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's a whole other subject of like, you can't really consider it piracy if you don't put it out there to buy.
Yeah.
That's a whole other story and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Unless I buy a Nintendo system, which good luck trying to find one that still kind of works, you know, to play like bad dudes, you know. It's not a thing.
Yeah, it's like with me, I'm not, I'm not the gamer that you are. You've been a gamer. I mean, we have one of those emulator systems. We also have a PlayStation 4, but we don't have much else anymore. But Kim has downloaded a number of games from the PlayStation, and they're all pretty cheap stuff. So if we lose them, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And we don't use it that much anyway. But what really bothers me now is that studios are ignoring the hard media.
Yeah.
Studios are more and more refusing to release DVDs of movies and television shows in favor of pushing you toward whatever streamer they're using, whether it's Netflix or their own like Peacock or Max or one of them. I'm sorry, I wouldn't trust Max as far as I could throw it right now.
Nope. I don't. I'm not even subscribed to them.
David Zaslav, who is the president and head of the Discovery Network, Discovery Warner Brothers, or Warner Brothers Discovery, WBD as they are known.
Yeah.
To me, I honestly, I have watched him operate over the last 2 years since they've started this merger. And the man is a complete incompetent when it comes to Hollywood. He has no idea there's nobody in Hollywood that can stand him. I mean, he's deep sixed finished films from preventing them from being released because he wants a tax write-off.
Yeah, the Batgirl movie that he did, right? That was him.
The Batgirl movie, the new Looney Tunes film, is suffering the same fate despite getting huge reviews.
That's the one
reviews.
Wild Coyote, right?
I'm sorry?
That's the one Wild Coyote, right?
Wile E. Coyote and John Cena is one of the stars. They had a whole bunch of people, and we're going to shop it. We'll let them shop it around, but eventually they didn't take the deal, and now he's writing it off. So it's never going to see the light of day.
Terrible.
I mean, this is not the way. I mean, the old style Hollywood moguls would be rolling over in their graves.
Yeah.
People like Jack Warner would be having conniption fits at what these people have done to his company. I just think for me, I first noticed this trend, and this is me because I'm an oddball person, back about 7 or 8 years ago, because ever since it started, I have always made a point to buy the yearly DVD sets from America's Test Kitchen. After season 16, they stopped making DVDs. So everything beyond that is available only on the America's Test Kitchen website if you are a member. So I pay $129 a year to be a member. And I can't, but I still have the old DVDs. And I know people that, ripped their DVDs onto a server and then got rid of them. What are they going to do if they're corrupt now? They don't have any choice because the DVDs are getting harder and harder to find and less new stuff coming out because the studios want to lock their hands around what you can see and what you do with it, most importantly.
Yep.
And it just doesn't seem like this is going to be a long-term solution. And it's Wall Street pushing them for more and more profit that's caused all the problems. I mean, in just the last year, Max and Discovery have kind of ended up with the same kind of stuff. A lot of the stuff that used to be on Discovery went bye-bye. On the Discovery Plus, it's called, which I subscribe to again for my cooking shows. But a lot of that's now available on Max, and Max keeps going up in price and getting rid of more and more stuff. The same with Disney. So I mean, it's getting to be ridiculous.
Yeah, Disney kills me. Like, I'm a huge Disney, like a Disney fan. Walt Disney would be rolling in his grave right now. What's going on? At least, the one good thing about me is I do have the movies on Vudu, but I also still have my hard copies in storage. So at least there's that. So I'm not too worried. But just the fact that stuff's coming out on Disney Plus, okay, that we can't get hard copies of. I know a lot of people didn't like it, but I liked the Hawkeye series. Because I'm a big fan of Haley Steinfeld and Jeremy Renner. I loved it. I thought it was great. I can't get that physically. Another series that came out, but they took it off Disney Plus. So I'm never going to see it again. Is the Mighty Ducks series? It's gone, and it keeps going up and up and up in price. And the same thing, with the movies, like the Lady and the Tramp movie, the live action one. Me and Slaughter adored this movie because we're huge Lady and the Tramp fans. Even though it was live action, of course, the original still our thing. I mean, the original, but I did like the live action one. They don't have that on hard copy, and it drives me nuts. And the same
eventually, the good thing about Disney is eventually, Disney has always been the leader of the technology. Eventually, Bob Iger or whoever his successor ends up being, will realize the value of some of their stuff and issue it physically. I'm convinced of that. It took them years to transition from VHS to DVD, but once they did, they did it in full. And now I think with a lot of the original stuff, eventually, especially the Marvel Studios and the Star Wars stuff, it will eventually come out on DVD. How soon? That's another matter. I know I've never seen the live action Lady and the Tramp. I wanted to see it because Thomas Mann plays Jim Deere, and I wanted to see that. I love him, but I have never watched it. Even though I don't think we pay for all these streaming services, and to be totally honest, we don't use any of them. I use Discovery Plus all the time, and Kim uses BritBox all the time. But we have Netflix, we have Disney Plus, we have Hulu, we have Max. Max I use occasionally because of the DC stuff, but even that's disappearing. And maybe Max will be more worth it once if they do come to a deal that gives AEW its own section, the similar way to WWE on Peacock, which we also get. Then there's an incentive. But the thing is, they're raising prices and taking away programs. That is not much incentive for making much profit. And I would think that these idiots on Wall Street would realize that the profits are going to go down if they keep doing this, and they are.
Yeah, streaming services are all down across the board. Like, I know I canceled a lot of mine because I'm just like, yeah, exactly. I don't use it. Like, I was subscribed to BritBox. The only thing I really watched on there was Father Brown. I own Mrs. Brown's Boys. I own the IT Crowd. I own Miranda. Like, those are the shows I used to watch on BritBox. I'm going to get Father Brown. I think I can get that from the BBC, hopefully hard copy, because I don't want to buy it digitally. I really like Father Brown. But I canceled it. And I canceled Apple TV because
we have that too.
I only watched C on there. The morning show was all right, but I watched C. C's done. So I got rid of that. And that's another thing. We can't buy C. Like hard copy. I can't buy a hard copy of that. I thought it was a fantastic series. And then what else did I cancel? I got back Netflix because Solana, but again, $16.99 I'm paying for Netflix. Are you kidding me? There's only a few shows on there. And I pay for Amazon Prime, but you get more with Prime. Aside from the what's it called? The streaming service, you get 2-day shipping. You get so at least there's an incentive to have that. But
now you have to pay an extra $3 to watch Prime without commercials.
Yeah, that drove me
which is interesting.
and I debated on whether I should do that or not.
Nah.
So I went through all the series that I do watch on Prime, and I'm like, all right, it's worth it because commercials drive me nuts. Because I do pay for YouTube Premium because I can't stand ads. I actually pay for the premium, but I also get the music with YouTube Premium.
Yeah.
So there's an incentive there. You know what I'm saying?
YouTube Premium is the best thing around. I mean, it really is, because you get the best of both worlds. You get YouTube Music and you get YouTube without commercials. And we watch more YouTube than we do any of the other streaming networks because we have it on the TV.
Same here. Yep.
So Kim will watch, old episodes of stuff, or she'll go through and watch, other shows that we've become fans of. We each have, I have 2 different channels, not including the weather one. I have 2 different membership uses on YouTube, and each one of them has 500 plus subscriptions. One is almost all vinyl community, and the other is non-vinyl community. Yeah. And so we have plenty to watch. It's not like we're actually paying out the nose. We dropped physical cable in January and switched over. We switched over to DirecTV, DirecTV Online, because it's less than half the price. And it allows us to stay on top of the stuff we do watch on regular TV, which is AEW, Svengoolie, and 2 or 3 other things. That's it. Everything else is on the streaming. It just doesn't seem necessary to have that. But we're getting out of topic. Let's steer back to where we were. Well,
it kind of is.
It all encompasses it. Yeah. But I mean, the digital ownership, one thing that I think is important, and I think it's really becoming important since it's happening more and more, is that there needs to be a look by the whichever. I don't think that would be the FTC that would have to look into that, Federal Trade Commission, that would have to come up with some kind of a rule that says, if you are going to pull this from licensing from X group, you need to notify people who have subscriptions well in advance, and B, offer them an incentive or a full refund if they have made a digital purchase. And but barring that, then we need laws doing it. We need laws to come out and attach them to I don't know if that would be, I don't think that would be attached to copyright or trademark. It would have to be something, but there's got to be a way because everybody's getting completely ripped off with this licensing scheme.
Yeah.
And you're paying tons of money and you're not getting any product. Or they need to make sure that if you buy a digital copy, that it is unprotected and you can burn a physical copy. Yeah. Something that the studios are never going to allow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it kills me because, like I said, I'm rebuying all these games. And again, I don't even know if the games that I'm rebuying, if they even on the disc, is the game on the disc. I don't even know. I know with Nintendo, it's 90%, if not, it's 98% is yes. But with PlayStation and Xbox, I'm really wary on buying like these games on the system because they're not on the disc. I can't put them on a disc. Mm-hmm. It drives me insane. And it does. Yeah. You should be able to get a refund if they pull them. The one good thing I will say, at least with PlayStation as of right now, I did buy Stranger Things 3, the game. They did pull that from the libraries. Like, you can't buy that anymore. Mm-hmm. You can buy a physical copy, but it's going to cost you upwards to like $200-$300, which is another thing that drives me nuts. But they didn't.
Be careful you don't dive all the way into the vinyl community then, because you can easily pay that kind of stuff for stuff that's hard to find.
Yeah, like there's a game I want to get is X-Men Origins Wolverine. The movie I liked the movie enough, but the game was phenomenal. I used to have it. I had to trade it because of things that happened in my past relationships. I needed money, and I regret doing that. But it's not like I can even go into even a digital store if I even wanted to get it. I now got to pay upwards to like $100 for this game. Mm-hmm. It's on a PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360, which I know for a fact the game's on the disc. I used to have it, so I could I'm willing to pay that. At least I own it,
Yeah.
But it's things
You've
like
got that guarantee that makes it a little bit easier forking over the slightly higher prices or
right.
the exorbitantly higher prices in that case for a game because you know it's all there. It's not like going to make you download half of it.
Right. But like with Stranger Things, I don't even know if the game's on the disc. So I don't want to fork over $200 for this hard copy. Not that I really want that back. That's just a for instance. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I beat the game and I got my money's worth out of the digital, whatever. Take it away. I don't care. I beat it, you know? So it's like, and it was a fun game to play once through. I'll probably never play it again. But if it's something like The Witcher 3, I love that game. I don't know if I don't even know if that's even on the disc. I have it. I have the disc. I had to rebuy it for the PlayStation 5. I actually got to check to see if it's on the disc. But a game like Skyrim, Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim, I have it on the PlayStation 3. It's all on the disc, including the DLC.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's all there on the disc, but it's like it scares me though. Even rebuying these discs kind of scare me because it's like, am I spending all this money, which I could be spending on something better like Universal Studios? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but again, these are games that I truly love, and I'm not rebuying my entire library. That's not happening. I'm only buying the ones that I absolutely adore and love. But it's still money out.
Yeah.
And because they can take this away. That guy who lost 400 games, I don't even know if Sony even responded yet. I don't think they have.
Yeah.
And then
Sony's the whole thing with Sony is that they purchased Crunchyroll, and at least as far as the video goes, it's different from the game side. But Crunchyroll, of course, was a very popular animated anime site.
Yep, I used to have
And they had tons of people after buying that wrote to Sony, well, how am I going to access my Crunchyroll programs? I purchased all these. And Sony was like, nah, you're not. Sorry.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And
yeah.
it's not like it would take them a lot. I mean, it really, people have pointed out, it would take maybe 3 days of coding and switching and server arranging to allow people to have that access again, and they just don't want to do it. They said it costs too much. Well, excuse me, you just paid all this money for this company. You should take care of its customers, because if you don't, all those customers you paid to have when you bought this company are going to go bye-bye.
Yep. Like I said, that's what I was saying about the Xbox and the PlayStation. As soon as I beat these games, I'm going to put the systems away. And I'll tell you right now, I'm not buying the next gen. I don't care what games are coming out on them. I'm not going to get a PlayStation 6 or a PlayStation 5 Pro. I'm not going to get another Xbox. I'll stick with Nintendo as long as they stick to keeping the things on the cart and staying backwards compatible. But no, I'll just keep buying old systems. I don't care. I just can't do it no more, you know? Like I said, I regret buying what I bought for the PlayStation 4, 5, and the Xbox One and Xbox Series S, you know?
Yeah.
I'm afraid it's like, no. And everything's going to digital, which is the other problem. Like, seriously, it's insane.
It's got to be, at this point, it has to be buyer beware, because when you're buying, make sure you're buying, number one. Also, this is a question that you'll have to answer because I don't buy enough games.
Okay.
When you buy a game these days, a hard copy of or supposedly a hard copy of the game, does it indicate on the packaging anywhere that you will be required to download something to make it work?
Some games, yes, not all games. So again, Nintendo's good about that. Like, it's on the cart. You don't have to download. I've popped stuff into my Switch and just played it right there. No download required. I got to do system updates here and there, but that's system updates. That's
different.
That's different. But like, say for instance, let's see. I have Saints Row, the new Saints Row, which a lot of people hate. I actually enjoyed playing this game, but network features. Yeah. You got to download stuff. You got to go. You got to get on. You got to be able to get online to play it. You don't have to play it online, but you have to initially, when you pop it in, it needs to download off the server. Yeah. But games like, again, I was just in a video, but games like Murdered Soul Suspect. Now, people hated this game. I'm trying to get it back in the frame. You can get it digitally, seriously, $3. Okay. I paid $40 for it, but I know the game is here on this disc, you know, and it's I think it's a fantastic game. I love this game. You know what I'm saying? But I know it's here on the disc. It doesn't say I need I can lose internet and be fine playing it. Online play, that's Mario Kart. A game it's all right. I don't really like Mario Kart, believe it or not. I'm like trying to find a game here that like doesn't require. I just did my video. Sorry. Like Pokemon, you can play this off the cart.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't even. You don't need to go online to play it, and it's fine. You know what I'm saying? Games like Miles Morales, though, I believe I have to go online just to download it. This game's crap, by the way. A lot of people like it. I hate it. Just throw my 2 cents in there, you know.
So gaming needs to be at a point where they're marking on the packaging, yes, you can play this without downloading, or no, you will be required to download it. Right. Download elements of the game in order to play it successfully. That's something they don't entirely do right now, and they probably should.
Correct. Yep, but it's only some games will tell you like online required, or they'll even tell you like when you're looking at them on Amazon, it may tell you it needs to be online required. But yeah, I hate it because I'm also not a big online gamer fan. Like I'll play Rocket League, which I think you play as well, right? You've played.
I've seen it. I haven't played it. I've watched people play it though.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. But you know what the best part about that is? It's free. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But here's a perfect for instance. I have a hard copy of it for the Xbox. It was an Xbox exclusive. They just switched over licensing that it can play on other consoles. But the game Sea of Thieves. Mm-hmm. Now, if you get their online service, you can play this for free. It's on their gaming catalog. I picked up a hard copy of it. Again, it is online only game. But again, if you have online for the Xbox, you get that free. It's included. Mm-hmm. But for the PlayStation 5, it's coming out now on the PlayStation 5. They want $40 for it. It's only online play. Why would I pay $40 for this? And mm-hmm. they don't even have a physical coming out. And the same thing with the game Helldivers 2. Is it Helldivers 2 that just came out? It's only digital, but it's only online. Shut the service down. You just spent $40, $50, $60 on what?
Nothing.
You don't even get a hard copy to look at and say it's pretty. You know? It drives me nuts. It does.
The only way that... Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I miss the olden days where it's like Nintendo, Sega Genesis, which, by the way, have some of the best games still.
Yes.
Like, Sega Genesis is my favorite. Like, my systems go the Switch, my PlayStation 3, Sega Genesis. Those are my top three favorite systems of all time. And then the Wii. But pop the game in. Play. No online required. None of this crap. No loading, download. Just right off the cart. Fun. Couple hours game. None of these. Well, that's the other thing. Is like I'm big into RPGs, role-playing games. And I am. Don't get me wrong. I love them. They're beautiful and stuff like that. But sometimes I just want to play a game that's going to take me 5 to 10 hours tops. Every game coming out now is 70 to 100 hours. Like the new, I'm a big Zelda fan. The new Zelda Tears of the Kingdom that just came out. I have it. I still haven't even gone through the first one, Breath of the Wild. I maybe got 3-4 hours into it, and I'm like, I'm getting tired of this. And I think both of those you can play off the cart though. So this is a perfect example of it, but still, like, I just miss popping in, play. I don't need to go online. Why?
Yeah. It's just like one of those things where you got to be aware of what you're doing and aware that all the older stuff is better. I mean, we had a Genesis, we had a Nintendo 64, we had a Nintendo GameCube. Yep. Those were all fantastic. And ever since Sony and Microsoft discovered, hey, we could make people come on our system and pay money to play games and they won't be able to take it with them. That's when the gaming services went straight into the toilet. And I'll be honest, I don't really, there's so many. I watch, I've been, especially with the room redo, I've been watching a lot of gaming channels, getting the ideas for the lighting and stuff in here. And it was, I don't understand the fascination with stuff like Minecraft. I just don't
I hate
get
Minecraft.
it.
I don't get it either.
Minecraft and what's the other one, the building one that everybody does? I can't remember
Roblox.
the name of it.
Roblox.
What? It's I don't know if that's it. It's somebody. A couple of the channels I watch always play this game just to demonstrate the different systems they're testing out. And I don't remember what the game is, but I'm like, why is this any? I mean, this is just blah.
Yeah, yeah.
I enjoy watching. I enjoy watching Rocket League mostly because the people, when I was watching it, I was mostly watching Marco Stunt. He used to play it all the time on his channel on Twitch, and watching him get so frustrated not being able to do half the stuff was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
That's my entire enjoyment out of watching gamers, is watching them get incredibly frustrated by not being able to do something. So,
well, I think part of the reason why the companies are doing it, and I'm going to pull out 2 games that will, let me reach around here and grab. I can explain this one, and it's a theory, but here's a perfect example. Oh, not that one. Here it is. All right, perfect example of it right here. Last of Us and Last of Us 2. Part 1 and Part 2, okay? They keep releasing things like this so you can rebuy it. I bought this twice. I bought it digitally, so I bought it physically. Okay, that's understandable. But this I bought 5 times. 5. I have it on the PlayStation 3. I have it on the PlayStation 4 digitally. I have it on the PlayStation 5 digitally, and now I have this. Because it's a fantastic story, but that's why the companies do it. They'll pull it so you have to rebuy it. It's irritating.
yeah.
And I don't even know what this needs. There's 79 gigabytes, by the way, this first one. But okay, so this doesn't say online required. I wonder if I just shut my internet down. Because I haven't even popped this version in. I played the PlayStation 3 one, I've beaten it. I beat it on PlayStation 4. It's a great game. I love it enough to play it again. And I know they enhance the visuals and stuff like that. Same exact game, though. It really is. What I'm going to try is, after this video, I'm going to try turning off my internet and just popping this in and seeing if it'll play off the disc.
Hey, why not? It's worth a shot.
Yeah.
Given the fact that that's a PS5 title, correct? I would say probably not.
Probably not. I'm going to say probably not either. With my PlayStation 3 one, I know for a fact, 'cause I've had the internet off. I played my PlayStation 3 one. So at least if this crap goes on me, I have my PlayStation 3 version. I can play it again.
I think the big moral question here, the big morality, the big moral of the story, the Filmation moral is, if you're watching this and you are buying digital stuff and you are not reading that terms of service where it says leasing or licensing, not purchasing, then buyer beware. You got to keep track of that stuff. If you don't, I mean, it happens with digital books. It's happening now with even some cars are doing it. BMW's charging extra to heat seats now, even though it comes as part of a standard deal. They're charging you by the month to do that. They're charging you for the month to do printers. HP is trying to do a charge for the printers per month. It's ridiculous. And we have got to get beyond this and force some kind of legislation into place that protects consumers when it comes to these kinds of bullshit charges.
Yeah. So seriously, like, people just need to speak out and talk about it more. Because like I said, I mean, I briefly knew about it and I bought into the hype of digital. But I knew more, like I do now, about it. I would have never bought digital. I would have never bought the PlayStation 5, 4, the Xbox One. You know what I'm saying? I would have bought the Switch, obviously, because I would have known, hey, this is playing off the cart. You know, I wouldn't have bought all those movies on Vudu like I did. No, I mean, what's good is when you get the physical copies, you get a digital copy with it. But I still kept my physical copies in storage because I need the room in my house. But
yeah,
at least I still have a physical copy of it. But I would have never been like, oh, hey, look, I'm going to buy a whole TV series here, like The Walking Dead. I bought The Walking Dead. Yeah, I can get it physical, but here I am repaying for it. But I have it all. I bought the whole series digital, and I'm like, oh man, like now I'm afraid if I lose that, what am I gonna do?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what's happening, and we got to watch it because I mean, it's like you said, that was the gateway of getting people, hey, free digital copy with your hard copy. That was the gateway, and it sucked people in, and
I was one of them.
they're hoping it's not going to go back. But I think they need to really think about stuff that protects the consumer more in this way, because too many people are losing hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on things online that are just getting bricked by the companies, by their licensing agreements, or by shutting down another part of the company or whatever. And it definitely needs to be stopped.
Yeah, well, it's scary that they can actually go onto your systems too. I don't know about like the music and stuff like that, but I know with Sony, even if you have it downloaded onto your system, they can wipe that off your system too. That's another scary thing too. It's like, okay, I downloaded, I have it backed up, and then it's gone. They can go onto your system and do that. And that's like another thing. It's like, okay, I don't want to have my system connected to the internet, but I need to have it to play it. It's like I said, the Switch, I don't have to. I have a handheld. I don't have that hooked up to the internet unless I'm home, and I just update the system. But in my PlayStation 3 is not even hooked up to the internet. I don't even have it hooked up at all on the internet. But they can go onto my system and wipe these things out. That's not right.
No.
And that's going into my private property.
And Sony's been one of the big
ones.
I mean, they were back in the early, when the digital revolution started happening with the music, they were embedding literal programs in their CDs that you had to put on your computer.
Yeah.
In order for the record, the music to play. And they eventually got found out and were forced by pressure into discontinuing that. I ended up I bought a Canadian artist release on Sony that had that in it, embedded in my system. And it took me 3 other programs to wipe that out of my system. And the music is fine. It still plays, but this root system that they put in there, that they did that illegally. I think it was in there without being told.
Yeah.
And the studios have been getting away with this kind of crap for too long. And they need, I get so irritated with these people that go after Wall Street and the 1%ers, when the worst of any of these offenders, when it comes to this kind of thing, when it comes to copyright stuff, it's all centered in entertainment, particularly movie, TV, music, record labels. They need to be overhauled, and there needs to be things in places that makes the industry come into the 21st century screaming and kicking if they need to.
Yeah. Yeah. It really is just a scary thing, because like you think about how much money you spent and it's only the license stuff. If I knew that, if I read the fine print, because I'm guilty of it, I didn't read the fine print. I wish I did. You know, now my iTunes library, at least I got to listen to the music, but it's mine. It was mine.
Yeah.
It's not mine, I guess.
Could you have downloaded that and you just didn't?
Some of it, yes. Some of it, no. So at the time I bought these songs, iTunes did this weird thing where you couldn't. It was coded, where I couldn't download it or something like that.
Yeah, I hate iTunes.
I can't remember what that thing was, but I couldn't I couldn't download a lot of my albums because they were coded, and I only can play them through iTunes. I don't remember what that was. It was some kind of code.
I hate iTunes for that reason. I can't. I will only buy from them if I absolutely have to, because they do have a lot more than even Amazon has, and it's. But I will not buy it unless it's a downloadable file, and I just can't. You know, I when it comes to music, I'm not willing to spend that, because I have spent a ton on digital music over the years, and thankfully it's all on the computer and it's all backed up, and I don't have to worry about losing it. So
yeah. See, I lost that. So yeah, now same thing with like the music. At least my Amazon stuff, I did buy some digital stuff. It's like Solana on there myself, but I was able to download that, and I have that on a hard copy on a hard drive. You know what I'm saying? So I have all that backed up, but a lot of my iTunes is gone. You know, like, and now the movies, it's not like I could download them off of Vudu. I can download them to watch them on the Vudu app, but I can't download them to stick them on a hard drive, you know? If that makes sense.
There are probably ways around that.
Yeah, I could probably rip them and stuff like that. I don't know how to do it, but I mean, we're talking. I think I have 1,500 movies on there. I mean, like I said, a lot of them were just free digital copies.
Mm-hmm.
So I have the hard copies of those, so I can probably skip out on those because I have the hard copies. But
Right, yeah.
like, I would love to download my Walking Dead. I would love to download like, what do I even have on there? Reacher season 1.
Mm-hmm.
I purchased that, even though I have it on Prime. But what if I ever got rid of Prime? I wanted to watch Reacher again. But that's the other problem too, is not everything's coming out at all,
Yeah.
not digitally. So
Yeah.
like Stranger Things is a perfect example. Target came out with the first 2 seasons, lost the license, and now you can't get the other seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And that's terrible because the 3rd season was the best in my opinion. But I'm just like, I sold my 2 copies of that because I was just like, I'll watch it on Netflix or I won't watch it at all. Because that bothers me. My OCD, I kicks in. It's like, if I only have like 2 seasons or something, and I can't ever get the other, seasons, I can't, so. But
Stranger Things is going to be like the Marvel stuff. Eventually, when season 5 completes next year, the whole series will come out, and it'll come out on DVD. I have no doubt about that.
I hope so, because I'll grab it then, But yeah, another one is She-Ra and the Princesses of Power, which is on Netflix. Which I got hooked on. I know, but they never came out with seasons 3, 4, and 5, and I don't think they ever will. Oh no, seasons 4 and 5. 4 and 5 they never came out with. Luckily, I had someone who was able to get them for me because I watched those with my niece. Yeah, I got hooked on it. Like, what can I say? It was a fun show.
I wish there would. That's the one thing I also miss is the DVD releases of all the classic stuff. I mean, I ended up getting some of it, but another casualty of digital when it's only released on digital is once it goes away, you can't find it. And there's one thing that came out on digital only on Apple Digital, again, so iTunes, and has never been released on DVD that I'd still love to get a hold of. And I don't know if you remember it because it's a while back, an animated series from Cartoon Network called Sheep in the Big City.
Yep. I remember that. Yep.
I loved that show. It was absolutely surrealistic hilarity, and you can't get it. And even Mo Willems has kind of, the creator and the guy that was behind it, has kind of distanced himself from it over the last few years. Yeah. But man, I would love to get that on DVD, and they've never released it. I mean, I'm lucky. I think, I have a lot of full sets of things that we truly love. Like Kim has all of Supernatural, of course. That's just natural. I have all of Danger Mouse. I have all of Wonder Woman. I have a few other things. And some I only have certain, I never got all the seasons. I've got them for presents or whatever. But I'm the same way. If I was getting the seasons, I would prefer to get the whole series, which is why there's no hope of my ever buying DVDs of Doctor Who, because getting all of them is going to be impossible. There's so many different sets of them. So
it really is. Yeah. Matt has that we work with. He has a whole bunch of them, from the classics to all the modern day stuff.
I'd be interested more in the classics in the modern day, but I love the classics. But
even the classics are hard to get because not everything came out on hard copy.
Right. And that's why I subscribe to Ripbox.
Yep. Yeah.
They're all there.
Yeah. So I do miss Britbox. I'm thinking about getting it back, but right now, Slaughter and I are planning a trip to Universal for our 20-year anniversary. Being together, not married. We've been married for 12, but Universal's kind of like our place, so we're going to be going back down there and staying at our favorite hotel there, and we're going to do like the Informer meetup, which is the clock closes and only a certain amount of people are in, so no line.
Right.
All the food's included, so that's what we're doing this year. But again, that's why I'm rebuying all these games because I'm scared to go in digital, but I have to hold off on some, and then I have what the kids call today FOMO.
It ain't just kids, trust me.
Yeah, I'm in fear of like, okay, if I don't get this now, am I going to be able to get it? Like the game Disney's Gargoyles, which was one of my favorite Disney afternoon shows. They came out with the game on Sega Genesis. It's great. I do have it on my handheld, which is awesome, but I would like to play it on my TV. They do have it for the Switch, and they have it for like the PlayStation. I want to get it on the Switch, but they only have like 12 copies, and it's like $89. By the time I'm able to get this, is it going to be $300? I don't want to pay $300. I'll just play it on my emulator, but I want to play it on my TV, you know.
And if you have a lot of FOMO, good Lord, do not get involved deeply in vinyl, please.
Yeah.
Record store day will drive you insane.
Yeah. That's I do. I like. It's terrible because I'm like, I feel like I have to buy it now. I'm going to lose out on these games. Like again, the Wolverine, the X-Men Origins Wolverine was a perfect example. I could find that for $5 when it first came out on the PlayStation 3, on the Xbox 360. Now it's like $100 and I can't find it anywhere. That PlayStation 3 one's more expensive. I'm like, oh.
The digital ownership crisis is really turning into just that, a crisis. When you have a company not caring that it's bricking hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of material bought by hundreds of people, thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of people, and they don't want to offer you a refund, they don't want to offer you a way to get around it or some kind of other incentive, there's something wrong. Now, as I said in the interview, this is also spreading to computer peripherals. It's expanding to the car industry. And this needs to be something we need to keep an eye on. This is an area that consumer protection is badly needed. So over the next few weeks, I'm going to be checking with some legal people. I'm also going to be checking with government resources and see what we can possibly do to organize a campaign to get this stuff legislated, or at least rules made and empowered in place for the FTC to do. It's an interesting and could be devastating topic if you're downloading movies, if you're downloading music and not, purchasing movies, purchasing music and not downloading them, and you often can't when it comes to movies and such, then you're not getting your whole money's worth. This is why DVDs are being phased out. It's why CDs have had a hard time coming back. And it's one of the reasons why the vinyl resurgence is so huge, because vinyl is permanent. There's all kinds of issues going on here, and we'll be discussing it more in the weeks and months ahead, I'm sure. In the meantime, I've noted several resources in the show notes that I hope you'll take a look at and just see how far and crazy this is getting. Thank you for watching. I will see you soon. I'm TC Kirkham, the Kirkham Report, and TKR Video Central. Ciao, baby.